Commander Zigthok of the Hegemony Fleet examined the tactical display with satisfaction. The primitive world before them showed all the signs of easy conquest: scattered settlements, crude technology, and what appeared to be a relatively peaceful civilization. His 4 eyes gleamed with anticipation as he studied the orbital scans. "Target designation?" asked his subordinate, tentacles writhing over the command interface with practiced efficiency. "Unremarkable blue world, 3rd orbit from local star," Zigthok replied dismissively, his mandibles clicking in amusement. "Standard pacification protocols should suffice. The locals call it, let me check the linguistic database." He paused, reviewing the translation matrix. "Something that translates to dirt or ground in their primitive tongue. Quite poetic, really. They named their world after the substance they crawl upon." His bridge crew chittered in appreciation at the joke. After all, they had conquered 47 worlds using these same tactics. Each target had been carefully selected, technologically inferior, politically divided, and lacking any significant military capability. "Shall we commence orbital bombardment, Commander?" "No need to waste good plasma," Zigthok waved a dismissive appendage. "Deploy the shock troops. These soft bipeds will surrender after the first few cities fall. Look at their energy signatures. They're still burning fossil fuels for power. Primitive beyond belief." He studied the population centers scattered across the planet's surface. "Send the first wave to their largest settlements. Standard intimidation deployment. Once they see our superior firepower and technology, they'll grovel for mercy within hours. We'll have this world cataloged and processed within a standard cycle." What Commander Zigthok didn't realize was that the translation algorithm had made a crucial error. The planet's name wasn't just dirt or ground, it was Earth. And Earth had a very specific reputation in certain corners of the galaxy, one that his species had somehow managed to miss in their intelligence briefings. The archived warnings from ancient explorers spoke of a world where evolution had run wild, creating impossibly dangerous creatures and an apex predator species that refused to accept defeat. But those records were buried deep in databases that the Hegemony rarely bothered to consult. The first wave of Hegemony dropships descended through the atmosphere like falling stars, their occupants confident in their superior technology and combat experience. The ships' hulls glowed with atmospheric entry heat as they carried their cargo of conquest toward the unsuspecting planet below. Earth would be different. The alien pods crashed into major population centers across the globe with military precision. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, Moscow, Sydney, all targeted simultaneously in a coordinated assault designed to decapitate human leadership and break morale. The Hegemony forces emerged from their smoking transports, expecting to face panicked civilians fleeing in terror, their weapon systems already charging for the slaughter they anticipated. Instead, they found something else entirely. In Manhattan, Emergency Response Coordinator Jake Morrison was already coordinating with military units before the first alien boot touched pavement. Years of preparing for terrorist attacks, natural disasters, and urban warfare had created response protocols that adapted instantly to extraterrestrial threats. "All units, this is command. We've got hostile contact in sectors 7 through 12. Threat assessment indicates advanced weaponry but limited numbers. Pattern suggests coordinated planetary assault. Engage and adapt, treat as military invasion, not civilian emergency." The aliens expected screaming and chaos. They got organized resistance within minutes. Private Elena Vasquez, positioned on a rooftop 3 blocks from the landing zone, watched through her scope as the first alien patrol moved through Times Square. The creatures were tall, angular, with what appeared to be some kind of chitinous exoskeleton. She'd been trained for urban warfare against human enemies, but training kicked in regardless of the target. "Target acquired," she whispered into her comm. "Hostiles are approximately 7 feet tall, some kind of natural or artificial armor plating, energy weapons that glow blue-white.
taking the shot. Her rifle barked once. The lead alien stumbled, its energy weapon clattering across the asphalt. The others scattered, but they scattered into crossfire from 6 different positions that Morrison had established using pre-existing counter-terrorism protocols. "That's one ugly ET down," she reported, "but the armor's tough. We're going to need armor-piercing rounds or bigger guns." Meanwhile, in London, Professor Marcus Blackwood was already analyzing fragments of alien technology in his laboratory. The man had 3 PhDs in material science, xenobiology, and theoretical physics, and an unfortunate tendency to work through alien invasions the same way he worked through coffee breaks. "Fascinating," he muttered, examining a piece of alien metal with his spectrometer. "The molecular structure suggests they're about 2 centuries ahead of us technologically. Significant advantage, but not insurmountable." Earth's response was already beginning. Within 6 hours of the initial landing, something unprecedented happened. The humans began winning. Commander Zikthak stared at the tactical display in disbelief, his 4 eyes processing information that defied all logical expectations. Red indicators, casualties, dotted the map where his forces had landed. Emergency beacons from downed squads flickered like dying stars across the holographic display. This wasn't supposed to happen. No primitive species had ever mounted effective resistance this quickly. "Report," he snapped, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "Sir, we are experiencing significant difficulties. The locals are not responding as predicted. They're organized, well-armed, and appear to have some sort of rapid technological adaptation capability we didn't account for. Impossible! They're primitives burning fossil fuels. Sir, they've somehow reverse-engineered our plasma weapons and are using them against us. Additionally, they seem to have specialized individuals for different forms of combat. Some use distance weapons with remarkable accuracy. Others employ explosive devices, and there are reports of hand-to-hand combat specialists who are somehow matching our warriors despite being physically inferior." The tactical officer's report painted a picture that challenged everything the hegemonic knew about conquest. These weren't mindless primitives, they were adapting in real time. Back on Earth, the picture was becoming clearer. Humanity's strength wasn't just in their technology or their numbers, it was in their diversity and adaptation, forged by millions of years of evolution on a death world. In the Australian outback, Aboriginal tracker Billy Nakamura led a team of special forces through terrain that confounded the alien navigation systems. His ancestors had survived on this continent for 60,000 years, learning to read the land in ways that no galactic database could comprehend. "They're used to fighting in cities and open battlefields," he explained to his team, pointing to tracks in the red dirt. "But this is our country. We know every rock, every tree, every hiding spot. They're lost out here." His team took out 3 alien patrols using nothing but knowledge of the land and weapons that would have been considered primitive by galactic standards, but were perfectly suited for guerrilla warfare in unforgiving terrain. In Russia, former Spetsnaz operator Dmitry Volkov was teaching local militia how to build improvised explosive devices from alien power cells. "In Afghanistan, we learned to fight with what we had," he told his students, his scarred hands deftly wiring components. "Now we have alien technology to work with, much better than Soviet equipment." The aliens began to realize they weren't fighting a single enemy. They were fighting millions of different enemies, each with their own skills, knowledge, and ways of war. By the 3rd day, the humans had not only stopped the alien advance, they had begun pushing back. Captain Maria Santos, a former military engineer, had figured out how to hack alien communications. "They're using quantum encryption," she explained to the joint task force that had formed around her makeshift command center. "But they made one mistake. They assumed we wouldn't be able to understand their language or technology." "And?" asked General Thompson, who had flown in from the Pentagon. "They assumed wrong. Their language has mathematical principles, and mathematics is universal. Plus, they're using our own communication networks now, which means we can intercept everything. The intelligence coup changed everything. Suddenly, humanity knew where every alien force was located, what their objectives were, and how they planned to achieve them. But the real game changer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Rachel Adams, a xenobiologist who had been studying alien physiology from captured specimens, made a crucial discovery. "General, I've found something important. These aliens, they're not actually that much stronger than humans. Their advantage comes from their technology and their belief that they're superior." "What are you saying, Doctor?" "I'm saying they've never fought anyone who fought back effectively. Look at their combat patterns. They're designed for intimidation and overwhelming force against panicked enemies. But when faced with organized resistance, they're actually quite vulnerable." "How vulnerable?" "Their psychology appears to be based on dominance hierarchies. When they start losing, they don't adapt, they panic. And," she paused, looking at the data, Commander Zychthak was indeed panicking. His forces were being systematically hunted down by creatures that should have been cowering in caves. Worse, his superiors were demanding answers he didn't have. "Sir, we're receiving communications from the enemy," his communications officer reported. "Impossible, they don't have our technology." "Sir, they're using our own communication protocols, and they're speaking our language." The main screen flickered to life, showing a human female in some kind of military uniform. She spoke in perfect hegemony standard dialect. "This is General Patricia Hayes of the United Earth Defense Force. To whom am I speaking?" Zychthak's jaw dropped. You speak our language?" "Your language is based on mathematical principles, Commander. We figured it out. Now, I have a proposition for you." "I don't negotiate with primitives." "Commander, let me explain something to you. You made one crucial mistake when you decided to attack our world. You didn't research your target properly. If you had, you would have learned that this planet has a very specific name, and that name carries a very specific reputation in certain parts of the galaxy." "What reputation?" "The reputation of being the one place in the galaxy where species come to die if they're foolish enough to underestimate the locals. Your species calls this planet dirt or ground, but the proper name is Earth. And Earth, Commander, is where evolution decided to experiment with creating the most adaptable, most stubborn, most creative, and most dangerous species in the galaxy." "You're bluffing." "Commander, in the past 3 days, we've captured 37 of your soldiers, reverse-engineered your technology, learned your language, hacked your communications, and begun hunting your forces with increasing effectiveness. We've turned your own weapons against you, and we've done it while suffering minimal casualties. Does that sound like the behavior of a primitive species?" Zychthak stared at the screen. Around him, his bridge crew was listening intently. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. "Surrender, now, and we'll let you leave alive." The footage spread across the galactic networks like wildfire, transmitted through quantum relays and hyperspace beacons to every corner of civilized space. Humans, actual humans from an uncharted backwater world, demanding the surrender of a hegemony fleet? Most species assumed it was some kind of elaborate hoax, perhaps a training simulation or propaganda piece. Until the surrender was broadcast live across 17 different communication channels. Commander Zychthak, standing before his assembled troops in what had once been their primary landing zone in Central Park, formally surrendered to General Hayes. The alien commander's posture spoke of utter defeat. His once proud stance now hunched, his weapons laid ceremoniously at the feet of human soldiers who watched with professional discipline. "By the authority vested in me by the Hegemony High Command, I hereby surrender all forces under my command to the Planetary Defense Forces of Earth," he announced, his voice carrying across the battlefield through both human and alien recording devices. We acknowledge our complete tactical and strategic failure. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as human soldiers accepted the surrender of alien troops with what appeared to be professional courtesy and efficiency. No executions, no humiliation, just the methodical processing of prisoners according to what appeared to be established military protocols. But the real shock came when General Hayes addressed the galaxy directly, speaking into cameras that would transmit her words to billions of sentient beings across thousands of worlds. To all species monitoring this transmission, this is General Patricia Hayes, speaking on behalf of the people of Earth. We want you to know that we are not a naturally aggressive species. We did not seek this conflict. However, we will not tolerate unprovoked attacks on our world or our people. We have captured significant alien technology and have learned much about galactic civilization in the past week. We know that Earth has been ignored by the galactic community because you believed us to be primitive. We are not primitive. We are simply different. To the Hegemony Command, your forces will be returned to you unharmed, along with their equipment, once suitable assurances are provided that there will be no further attacks on Earth. We have no desire for your territory or your resources. We simply want to be left alone. To all other species, Earth is now aware of the galactic community and wishes to establish peaceful relations. However, let this incident serve as a warning. We are not the easy target you might think we are. We are human, and we have been forged by 4 billion years of evolution on one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy. We hope for peace, but we are prepared for war. 6 months after the failed invasion, Earth had become the most talked about planet in the galaxy. The humans had kept their word. They'd returned the captured hegemony forces unharmed, along with most of their equipment. But they'd also kept enough alien technology to bootstrap their own industrial capacity into something approaching galactic standard, and the implications terrified half the galaxy. Ambassador Elena Martinez stood before the Galactic Council addressing the assembled representatives of 300 species in the great amphitheater of Nexus Prime. She wore a simple human diplomatic uniform, but everyone in the chamber knew what she represented. A species that had gone from unknown to legendary in less than a year. "Honored representatives," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation matrices that rendered her words into hundreds of different languages simultaneously. Earth formally requests recognition as a sovereign world and membership in the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted in discussion, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, harmonics, and electromagnetic pulses as species debated in their native forms of communication. The idea of humans, Death World natives who had defeated a hegemony fleet, joining the council was unprecedented and terrifying. "What assurances can you provide?" asked the crystalline representative, their silicon-based form resonating with harmonic frequencies. "That Earth will not use its unique capabilities to threaten peaceful worlds." "The same assurances that any other species provides," Elena replied calmly, her hands clasped behind her back in a posture that somehow managed to be both respectful and subtly threatening. "We will abide by galactic law and respect the sovereignty of other worlds, but we also expect the same respect in return. And if another species decides to test Earth's defenses?" asked the hegemony representative, a different one than Commander Zythak, who had quietly retired to a monastery on his homeworld. Elena smiled, and there was something in that smile that made several representatives shift uncomfortably in their seats, appendages, or energy fields. It was the smile of a predator that had learned it was the apex of its food chain. Then they'll learn the same lesson you did. Earth is not a target. Earth is not a conquest. Earth is home to humanity, and humanity has one defining characteristic that you should all remember, which is, we don't start fights, but we always finish them. The vote was unanimous. Earth was granted full membership in the Galactic Council, along with a defensive alliance that guaranteed no further misunderstandings about the planet's capabilities. Commander Zythak, now working as a strategic consultant for the hegemony, read the reports with respect and relief. The galaxy had learned to fear the name Earth, and that was exactly as it should be.